1, 2, you hear the clock ticking. Tick tock, you about to stop living. Tick tock, I want you to remember me. Tick tock, but the dead don't have no memory. I'm coming. Nobody can stop me, nobody can hold me, nobody control me. I'm coming. I'm here to do my thing, I'm here to bring the pain. I'm never ever gonna change. I'm coming. Nobody can stop me, nobody can hold me, nobody control me. I'm coming. I'm here to do my thing, I'm here to bring the pain. I'm never ever gonna change. Like Tropicana, I got the juice. All for the least, let the dog loose. Don't make me call up the crew. Now they getting scared, wanna call up a truce. I'm the one like Neil, cocky like steel. Nobody can guard me like I'm shooting a free throw. This is illegal, my flow is legal. And it's me, it will never be a sequel. See, I'm fly like a pelican. And while I'm here, yeah, I'm gonna represent. If you're sick, then I'll be your medicine. And you already know who I'm better than. No doubt, yep, I'm a veteran. And when done, you gon' think you got ran over by elephants. Since I came, ain't been the same like ever since. And that talking, yeah, it better end. I'm coming. Nobody can stop me, nobody can hold me, nobody control me. I'm coming. I'm here to do my thing, I'm here to bring the pain. I'm never ever gonna change. I'm coming. Nobody can stop me, nobody can hold me, nobody control me. I'm coming. I'm here to do my thing, I'm here to bring the pain. I'm never ever gonna change. This is my world, my way, my life. And if I gotta do it, I gotta do it right. So everything I want, go ahead and give me that. The girl with me, just know that you ain't getting back. No, yeah, she wanna.
All right, guys, welcome to Sunday Night Spotlight. My name is Alexz Yzerman. We have a last-minute scheduling change here. We had scheduled J. Leon Love tonight, but unfortunately, he's not going to make the show. So we have a much better replacement, in my opinion here, a co-host of our boxing show with Jeff Mayweather. It's ring card girl extraordinaire, Ashley Ferrara. Ashley, welcome to the show. Thanks for filling in for us. How you doing tonight?
I am doing very well. It is my pleasure to be on the show with you guys. You know I love talking boxing, so anytime I get a chance to do that is very okay with me.
Well, we're going to be talking mostly about you, so I hope that's okay, but,
my favorite topic.
Of course, I'm sure it is. This show here, what we basically do is we get, all kinds of people in MMA and boxing that are on their way up. We get the prospects, and actually you kind of fit the bill. You might not be an actual fighter, but you're someone that's generating quite a buzz here lately, building up a name for yourself in the boxing world. So we're glad to have you on. But first of all, let's just talk about last night, because I know you were busy last night and got to work out there in Oklahoma. So tell us about last night's event.
Well, last night was a pretty fun night. They have a new series in Oklahoma City. It's called the Corona at Bricktown series, and Corona puts on a lot of fights here in Oklahoma, partially because we have so many casinos and great venues for fights. But last night, the main event was a guest that we have had on the Jeff Mayweather show, and his name is Lydell Rhodes, and he came away with the win last night. So everybody was very excited to see that. He is actually currently training with Floyd Sr. out in Vegas, so that's definitely, I would say, one of the up-and-coming stars, and Floyd Sr. would definitely agree with that.
Right. And, lucky for you, the fight went the distance, so you were able to work the entire fight and didn't get cut short by any knockouts or anything, right? That's what you said your favorite part is, when they don't,
I know,
no knockouts interrupt your work.
I know. Lydell Rhodes is pretty famous for not taking fights very far, and he fought 3 weeks ago, so I'm sure he was still recovering from that and getting ready for this fight. So if he had maybe had some more time, I wouldn't have gotten to work so many rounds, but I guess thanks to the short distance in between, I did get to work some of that. But we already don't walk round one. It's kind of a tradition because the ring is usually too crowded. So you start with round 2. So you always hope the fight at least goes through the first round so you can walk one card.
But speaking of which, let me ask you, did you see that video on that's kind of gone viral now? It's MMA ring card girl that's walking around the ring when the guy's unconscious in the corner, and she's carrying her number 2 card around and kind of steps over him, doesn't realize the fight's over. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. And, I feel awful for her because, that is incredibly embarrassing. But I can't believe that she managed to get inside the cage with nobody stopping her. She didn't stop. I mean, nobody stopped her. She was like 3/4 of the way around the cage, and I just can't imagine why or how nobody stopped her before that. It just was mind-boggling to me. That
normally someone opens a cage, right, and hands them the card as they go in. So, didn't someone have to kind of assist her in doing that, or did she just say, screw it, I'm going in no matter what?
I mean, it's possible that she just picked up a card and went in thinking that it was another round, but usually it's a team effort to get somebody into the cage or around the ring. And, sometimes at fights, people will think they're being really funny and yell at you that you're carrying the wrong round or holding the card upside down and things like that. And you have to really just not listen to them and kind of just do your thing. And it does sometimes happen that we will take the wrong number or it will be upside down. And you just kind of got to go with it. But taking a card after she's passed out or after the guy was knocked out was definitely a first for me that I've seen.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Now, obviously, all ring card girls aren't blessed with your intelligence, but shouldn't she have kind of noticed the guy laying unconscious in the corner and figured there might not be another round?
I mean, I would think so. And typically what I will do is anytime before I get into the ring, I will check to make sure that they're putting stools down to show that they are actually going to fight another round. Because, sometimes there's a couple times where, the referee will call the fight or stop the fight right before the next round or in between rounds or something. So you always just kind of want to double check to make sure that you aren't about to walk around with a ring card when there is no fight. But I think a guy laying on the ground would be a good indication of that. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Do you have any? Hopefully not. Go ahead.
Maybe she was just so excited to do it that she just didn't even think. But I really think that this is a great Tosh .0 web redemption. I think it's right for it.
And have you? Hopefully nothing that embarrassing. But have you had any moments like that, the upside down round or anything like that when you were in the ring?
Well, I have not personally had an upside down round. I did once when I was getting out of the ring, get my heel caught in the rope and managed to recover, but people definitely noticed. I did, however, last year at the USA Boxing National Championships, which is pretty much our version of the Olympic trials, the number 3, the way it was printed on the card, it was kind of hard to tell which way it was supposed to go. And so when the girl got in the ring, she kept flipping it upside down and upside down and upside down and couldn't figure out which way was the right way. Because when she would look up at it, she thought it looked right. But when she looked up at it, it was opposite of what the people were seeing. So this poor girl could not figure out which way to hold this card. The audience was forgetting.
All right. Well, let's talk about you a little bit. Like I said, the point of the show is kind of to get people to know you as a person, where you come from, where you're going. So let's just kind of start back from the beginning. Tell the folks a little about where you're from and all that kind of thing. What kind of childhood you had?
Yeah, well, I currently go to law school at the University of Oklahoma, and so I live in Norman, where school is. But before this, I lived in Houston, and I actually worked as a paralegal for a big law firm down there, and didn't do any promos or didn't do any ring carding or anything. It was more something that I got into when I came to law school because I needed an outlet for fun, because I'm sure as a lot of people have heard, law school is not that much fun. And, I was looking for something to do that would kind of get me out of Norman and into the city and do events, see cool fights. And it kind of from there just blossomed into doing fights, not just in Oklahoma City, but in Texas and all different states. So it kind of was an interesting journey that I fell into, as I'm sure a lot of the boxers do. I don't think that, you kind of grow up thinking, oh, I really want a ring card or I want to fight for a living necessarily, because it is, I mean, it's much harder for the boxers. But it's been a lot of fun so far, and I've seen a lot of really good fights. And one of my favorite things is that I will see fighters who have been on undercards now a year or two later getting almost into, and sometimes the televised portions of shows, which is really cool. And I do have a lot of, newer boxers that I have seen on undercards and have had the opportunity to meet that I kind of cheer on and watch their careers as they're going, because they are really nice guys.
And now, like, as far as becoming a boxing fan yourself, first of all, I'm curious, are most of the other girls at ring card, are they boxing fans, or are they just out there because they're, to ring card and show themselves off in a bikini, or as far as you, when did you become a boxing fan?
I became a boxing fan basically, I'd say when I was living in Houston, we would watch some of the bigger fights. And it was when I did come to Oklahoma that I really, really became a fan, because, like I was saying earlier, there's so many casinos here, and there are just a lot of fights, and it's very popular here. And so people enjoy watching it, and as a cultural thing in Oklahoma and in Texas, it's something that people like to do on the weekends, and people will frequently watch the Showtime fights and the HBO fights. And even, go to all of the local events. But once I did my first fight ring carding, it was really after that we started subscribing to the ring and learning more about, all of the fighters and things. So when I would go to fights, I would kind of know what I was dealing with and what I was going to see, and get a bigger appreciation for the moment, because when you don't know what you're looking at, it's kind of hard to appreciate it. But after I learned about the fighters that I'd be watching, it was much easier to appreciate it and be excited about it. And I think Twitter has also really helped me in my boxing knowledge, because the people I follow on Twitter, I would say, are 75% boxing media and fans, and I basically just have to read my news feed to find anything I ever need to know right away about boxing.
Just don't follow Floyd Sr., right?
Well, apparently I need to unfollow him.
Yeah, I got in trouble to ask you, but for those out there listening, there are no Roger Mayweather or Floyd Mayweather Sr. Twitter accounts. Are all fake. So anyway, I got in trouble for that, so I will carry on. As far as your ring card girls, Ashley, like I said before, do you find in general that they're boxing fans, or is it just kind of a job for them, or how are the other girls typically?
For the most part, they are not usually boxing fans. But there are girls who are boxing fans. I think that especially when you get to the televised fights, girls love to just be on the televised portion of it, and that's what they get really excited about. So that's kind of what drives them to do it. But I have met a few people that really are excited about boxing. But I definitely would say that I probably am the most knowledgeable. I frequently end up explaining to them what's going on, and, I try to explain to them why these things are important. Like, last night, Floyd Sr. was at the fight, and, of course, there were people around him taking pictures, and the girls said, "Why are they taking pictures with that guy?" Well, he's actually very famous. I know he's here in Oklahoma City. This isn't, a televised fight or anything, but he's probably one of the best trainers in the world right now. So, go take a picture with him. Go say hi to him, because, if you ever talk to somebody who knows boxing, they will know who that is, and they will think it's very cool. So,
right. Did you get a good chance to go talk to him?
Yeah, I did talk to him. I will have to tell Jeff this on Tuesday, but he said that Jeff's hair only looks good with a hat on, and, I don't know if that's fighting words or what, but...
Jeff's hair's been a hot topic of late, so you did introduce yourself and tell me you did the radio show with Jeff?
I did. Yep, and he was very nice. We chatted for a little bit. It was after his fighter had won, so of course he was in a good mood.
Right.
how could you not be, I guess, after that? But the other thing that was interesting about last night was that they actually had an amateur fight on the card, which I've never seen before, and the girls were very confused by that because, you know, they had headgear on, they had shirts on, it was done on a point system, so they were pretty confused at what was going on, but I was able to explain that to them as well.
Right. Now, the one thing I find interesting about you, you've said repeatedly in different interviews that your favorite boxer is Larry Holmes. Unfortunately, we had him on our show last week on the Jeff Mayweather show. But, you know, so as someone in their 20s, how did you become a fan of Larry Holmes? And, you know, what makes him your favorite boxer? Because obviously you were not around during the majority of his career.
You know what? I wasn't. But a few years ago, we went on, it was either Amazon.com or one of the websites where they have DVDs, and we bought just a bunch of old boxing DVDs and a bunch of old OU football game DVDs, just because it was kind of cool that they had them. And, you know, I saw Larry on, I remember watching him fight, you know, in the later part of his, or second part of his career, depending on what you want to call it. But, you know, after watching some of those DVDs, the Top 10 Heavyweight DVD, and then seeing Larry versus Muhammad, he always, to me, just seemed like a really great guy. And he was funny, and he was lighthearted. And I think what I appreciated about him most is that, you know, it never seemed like he took anything for granted, and he really used boxing to make a better life for himself and his family. And to me, that was just one of the greatest things that you could do, because you see all of these, I mean, even pro football players, pro baseball players, they don't necessarily manage their career very well and end up broke and with nothing else. But he, you know, diversified. He owns bars, restaurants, construction companies, buildings, and he also stayed in his hometown, which I think was very impressive. And somebody like that is just such a great role model for other athletes, that it's not necessarily entirely in the ring, which is why I'm a fan of his. Now, obviously, after I got a chance to talk to him, he will definitely forever, it would be impossible to ever make him not my favorite, because he did invite me to swim in his boxing glove-shaped pool, so you can't top that.
Right. Now, who are some of the current guys that you're a fan of?
I really like Nonito Donaire. I ring-carded some of his fights, and I think he's he's exciting to watch in the ring, because he kind of has those flashy outfits. He moves around the ring a lot, and you know, he's a nice guy. You know, I've met him a couple times. He's very nice. He always will take pictures with fans, and if there's 100 fans that want to take pictures of him, he'll always take a picture with all of them. And, you know, he thanks them for coming, and I think that's a great quality to have. And his wife also cracks me up, so she's kind of part of the package.
What do you think about the fight he has coming up with Rigondeaux?
I am so excited for this fight, and I am actually shocked that it's happening. I really never thought that it would. I mean, I guess I'm still skeptical that it will actually happen. My fingers are crossed. It seems like there's been a lot of injuries lately, but you know, it'll be interesting because, you know, I guess they say that in close fights you favor the offensive fighter, and I guess that's a disadvantage possibly for Rigondeaux, but we shall see. And I don't think there will be a knockout. I do think it'll go the distance. That is one thing I will say.
Yeah, I think it will be an interesting fight. I mean, it's tough to tell. You know, I mean, Donaire's been on a roll, obviously, for a couple of years now. Rigondeaux, you know, one of the greatest amateurs of all time. You know, won the Olympics a couple times. But, you know, in the pros, he's been up and down. He's looked, you know, like a world beater one time. The next, he's, you know, not been so impressive. So it'll be interesting to see how that fight plays out. And definitely looking forward to it. And we'll see how it happens. Back to you, though, because like I said, this show's about you, not about other people.
Lately where Donaire hasn't looked great either.
Yeah, well, We shall see. I'm sure they'll both be bringing their A game that night because a win for either will definitely be big for them. So on to you, back to you. Like we said, you're a Yale graduate in last semester of law school there at Oklahoma. Just as far as, we've touched on before the whole Legally Blonde thing and all that kind of stuff. How does it? What's the reaction of? Well, let's go back to your law school your fellow students there. How do they react towards you in general and what you do and that kind of thing?
It's definitely been a mixed reaction from people. I've had a lot of support from my close friends, and they will come over to my apartment and watch the fights on TV when I'm not there, and they think it's the coolest thing. And they'll always text me pictures and say, "Oh, we just saw you." But as a state, Oklahoma is very conservative, and having somebody go inside of a ring in a bikini or even one of the other Tecate or Corona outfits is definitely not always looked well upon. So there is definitely a contingent of people that I go to school with who think I'm just out of my mind and that I'm going to hell. And it was at first pretty hard to deal with those people because they don't mask how they feel. They will definitely tell you to your face how they feel. But it definitely didn't deter me from doing it because I don't really care what they think. And at the end of the day, it's been such a good experience for me. And one that I'll take after law school and after I eventually stop ring carding. And I think that they probably don't even realize what a benefit it's been. I mean, practicing the law, in front of a judge, you have to be confident. In front of your partners, you have to be confident. And that's definitely one thing that ring carding has given me. You have to be very confident when you go in the ring in front of all those people and have people, cheering for you. And, people don't always say nice things about you online either. Every picture can't be flattering, so you have to learn how to deal with critics. And it's a skill that I'll definitely use after school, but I'm sure my classmates don't even realize that I got these skills.
So do you ever get any jokes like the Legally Blonde jokes and that kind of stuff? I know, it's obviously different than the movie. You're not a like I guess an airhead or whatever that kind of. But do you get those jokes anyway? Because of what you do and the way you look.
Certainly not to my face, and that may partially be because I went to Yale for undergrad, and none of them went to Yale for undergrad, so they can only talk so much trash on me.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Now, how did you get started in the first place as far as modeling and that kind of stuff? And is it something, obviously you're not going to be a ring card girl forever because you're going to do the law thing, but, is modeling something that you truly enjoy and want to continue with, even after you become a lawyer, or tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do want to continue ring carding and modeling for now. It's something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I really think that boxing especially is on the verge of changing how they look at ring card girls, and I would really like to be a part of that change, making them more towards the UFC model. And I would hate to stop doing it before that, and so I definitely want to continue it, at least for the foreseeable future. I do plan on practicing, but I do have to take the bar exam and do all of those things, so while I will be graduating soon, I will not actually be entering the real world for a while yet.
Right. So the modeling stuff, is that basically done except for, if you consider being a ring card girl modeling, the modeling stuff you're done with?
Not for now, no. I like doing it, and I plan on continuing to do it, so definitely keep doing that as well.
Right. Do you find that, just in general, not just as being a model or ring card girl, but in general being, an intelligent woman who went to Yale, is in law school, I've said that a million times, but do you feel that a lot of people don't take you seriously? Because you always, obviously I'm an ugly guy, you're an attractive woman, so I don't know what it's like, but do you find that people sometimes don't take you seriously because of your appearance, and how pissed off does that make you?
I think that some people who don't take the time to speak with me may think that, but I think that once people take the time to talk with me, even for a little bit, they definitely change their tune. Through the events that I've done, I have received more job offers than any of my classmates combined. And whenever I meet people, they're usually pretty impressed with my ability, especially to discuss boxing and current events and things like that. Just last night, when we were at the fight, there was a guy on the undercard who was 50. And, they were like, oh, wow, that guy's 50. I don't know anybody who else could fight when they're 50. And I said, yeah, well, Bernard Hopkins, he's getting up there. Larry Holmes fought after he was 50, and Dewey Bizzella fought after he was 50, so it's definitely possible. And, they do that slow head turn and look over. We're like, oh, hey, interesting. But it's fun, and it's fun to kind of pull one over on people like that, because people aren't always expecting it, for sure. They're definitely not. So I think that's fun.
Well, let's get back into what you just mentioned, and I know it's obviously your pet cause. We've talked about several times. UFC, started out with their Amber Nicole Miller, and then now we have Brittany Palmer's and the Ariane Celeste and all that. First of all, you touched on it a little bit, but expand on that, what you'd like to see boxing do, and also why hasn't boxing done that? I mean, it just seems like it's a no-brainer when you have these bigger promotions that could capitalize on, the use of ring card girls that we all might know and get behind.
Yeah, I mean, what I really believe is that boxing is not fully taking advantage of how they could market the ring card girls. I mean, you see UFC, you see Strikeforce, and you see Bellator, and they all have their named girls who those girls, fans get to know them, and fans get to love them, and even some people will tune in because of them. And if you go to any grocery store, any bookstore, I mean, you'll see Ariane Celeste on the cover of any number of magazines at a different time. I know her and Brittany Palmer are over in London right now shooting for FHM England. And, they're so now even internationally known that it's become a real way for the UFC to attract new fans and keep other fans. And I really think there's several reasons that boxing hasn't followed this model exactly. And first off, that's probably because it's a little more, the UFC is basically one umbrella that a lot of the fighters fall under. And, boxing, you have Golden Boy, you have DeBella, you have Top Rank, you have a lot of different promotional groups. And then even between that, you have HBO and Showtime and ESPN. And then on top of that, you have Corona and you have Tecate. Now, of course, Corona and Tecate love to be able to provide their girls. But when you have a fight at the MGM, they want to have their girls. And the UFC has really just said, all right, MGM, all right, Bud Light, these are our girls. You can brand our uniforms with your logo, but this is who we're going to use. And boxing has never really done that. I mean, the promoters really haven't come out and said, these are our girls, these are who we're going to use. We'll dress them in whatever you want, but this is what we're going to use. And I think that's partially why they haven't done it. And the other thing is that I think boxing doesn't look at long-term benefits as much as maybe MMA does, because they look a lot at, okay, well, how much money will this make me for this fight? How much will this cost me for this fight? Not, well, if we build this person up over a lot of fights, it will pay back tenfold in 10 fights. And so I think that's another big part of it.
Well, and I have no idea what kind of money they've made, but I'd have to assume that the UFC's made a lot of money off of their girls. So, I certainly think it'd be a smart move for them. And of course, you're volunteering to be the first official promotion ring card girl, right?
I definitely would be. I mean, I think that I would be a great choice for somebody to have, because a company or a promotional company would never have to worry about me embarrassing them or being unable to talk to people, or, I mean, even silly things. I'm very punctual. I always show up. I don't tweet stupid things when, I'm professional, and I would be a great representative because of that.
So then, of course, then what comes with that then is all the things, then, obviously the photo shoots and that kind of stuff. Anything that you will do or won't do for the right amount of money as far as that kind of stuff goes? I mean, what if Playboy comes to you with their big offer like they do Ariana Celeste and Brittany Palmer and them kind of guys, girls?
Anybody will do anything for the right amount of money, and I definitely subscribe to that. So I would consider everything.
Right. Well, I would too. I can't blame you, right? Of course, I don't think I'd be offered nearly as much money as you would.
Yeah, and whatever I did choose or whatever opportunity I was offered or decided to or not to take, people are obviously going to be critical of it, whatever it is. So, you got to do what you want to do, and if that doesn't please everybody, it only has to please you. So that's how I'll look at it when it comes.
Just so as far as the future goes, I mean, obviously you'd like to stay in the business, but, ultimately if boxing and boxing moves slow and by the time they do something, you might be a great grandma by then. So if it doesn't work out, as far as that goes long term, what does the future hold for you? As far as law and that kind of stuff.
It's kind of funny. I actually always joke that Bob Arum used to be a federal tax attorney, and Lou DiBello is an attorney, and I always joke that I'll become the first big female promoter one day, which, is a half joke because I think it would be really interesting. And I think that it's something that starting at a local level may be something that I was interested in. I really like to, do boxing as a workout and things like that, and so I think that's a possibility. But other than that, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, one of the promotional companies will decide to make a named ring card girl, and that's what I'll be doing next year at this time.
Well, we'll certainly do our best to be pushing you out there. And like I said, I think you'd be ultimate girl for it because you have the not only the look, but you do have the knowledge, and that's always a good when you have something go out there and speak on your behalf, and it's not going to embarrass you. But you're in Oklahoma and you're studying law for work at for the oil fields there and that kind of stuff. So do you consider yourself staying in Oklahoma long term? And why did you go from Houston to Yale and then back over to Oklahoma? Is that your true love, being in that area of the country?
Well, I will not be staying in Oklahoma a day longer than I have to.
No.
Paying state income tax is not my idea of a good time, so I will be back in Texas or Nevada or Florida or a state that does not have state income tax. So I will definitely be out of here. But, in undergrad, I ran track, and so I was recruited by a lot of schools, and I ended up choosing Yale because since it's the Ivy League, they don't give athletic scholarships, which is, unfortunate because, some people won't go to those schools because they don't. But it's fortunate because if you get hurt, they can't take your athletic scholarship away. And it's all pretty much financial need-based scholarships there. So I ended up going to Yale, and I ran track there. And then decided to move to Houston. I'm not originally from Houston, but I ended up moving there after school because it was snowing in New Haven in February, and went to Houston for a visit in February, and it was 77 degrees. And I thought, whoa, I'm going to be moving here next year for sure if I get this job or not. So that is what I did.
And what else, as far as, besides the boxing, we've got a couple minutes here left, just, what are things you like to do that, that are fun for you? Do you do to pass the time, or when you go out having fun with your friends, what are some interests you have?
I'm kind of a dork sometimes, so I do have this awful addiction to reality television. So at night when I'm trying to fall asleep, sometimes I end up watching the worst reality television shows ever, which is a very obvious
Well, you cannot name them, so go ahead. I watch them all too, so go ahead and discuss them.
My personal favorites, and heartbreak for me, is that it's over. Jersey Shore was one of my favorites. I love that one. I'm still a big fan of Real Housewives of Orange County, even though they haven't had a season in a while.
Oh.
And obviously, I watched The Ultimate Fighter. That's a great one. And my personal favorite, and this is really weird, but my personal favorite is Storage Wars, where they go and bid on the storage units.
Oh, no, that's... Go ahead.
I think for me, it's the thrill of not knowing what's going to be in there. And I'm always excited to find out what is actually in there, so it's kind of the mystery to that, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of them, and obviously I don't watch the Housewife ones and those type, but I do watch the Storage Wars and those kind of ones. But actually, I love Storage Wars. I don't like the offshoot. I don't like the Texas Storage Wars and that one on True TV, with the husband and wife that go and they, like, every single auction they get in a fight. Storage Hunters, I think it's what's called. Like, literally every single bit, like, that doesn't I've been to auctions a million times, and, people don't fight every single auction, and that's stupid.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you back if you thought.
No, I know, and it's every single time the same guys, like, and every single character on there is unlikable. And then the other one, that one's not too bad. What's the one on Spike with Allen and Ton, whatever that one's called?
I don't know.
That one's not too bad. But, and of course we had, we were fortunate up on the Jeff show a couple weeks ago. We had Seth Gold from Hardcore Pawn. He was on. But, yeah, a lot of those shows I do watch. Other ones are so fake that I really can't stand it. I mean, I like those. I like what's the one? The parking wars. That one's pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
I like.
The problem for me is that my cable company here in Oklahoma is awful, and we don't get True TV. And so I always have to wait to watch Hardcore Pawn until it's on the Internet. So I watch it, but at a delay. So.
Well, most of the shows on there are awful. Like, I don't like any of the, like those, the Repo type shows. Although I do like, and I wish we would have had you on the show when we had Josh from Repo Games was on. I like that show. But True TV, have you ever seen Impractical Jokers? That's my my current favorite. That's not really a reality show. That's hilarious if you ever had a chance to see that.
Yeah, my favorite is when the guy's at the fast food place and he comes out without any clothes on and just the apron.
Yeah. Well, that's who I'm working on next, Ashley. I want to get one of those guys on our show, on the show with Jeff one of these weeks, so I'm going to be working on that for you, unless you got any personal requests for anyone else.
No, I guess we're not going to be having Comanche Boy on after this week.
No, we'll bring him on a little bit. Yeah, it was unfortunate. We'll wrap up with talking about that a little bit. A little unfortunate there. I mean, obviously, going against Rodriguez was a big step up for him. Just a couple fights ago, he was fighting a guy making his pro debut. So, unfortunate for him. But that was, I don't know. I think the booking there was really wrong. He needed to take a smaller step up than that.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate because, fights like that are hard to come by. And when you're remembered for something like that, it makes it even harder, I think.
Yeah, I mean, having had all his fights, out here or out there in Oklahoma, just,
right.
Like I said, and then you have someone like Teddy Atlas who's going to sit there and pound in the fact that, he's garbage and sit there trying to say it over and over and over, that really puts a bad stigma on him. And, the fact is, he's still an up-and-coming guy. He's still 31, granted against, limited competition, but he's still got 31 wins and only one loss. He can come back. But I just think it was probably not the right way to schedule him to fight, and they should have looked at a different, a smaller step up in class.
Yeah, but if you can't handle Teddy Atlas's criticism, you might as well get out of the game now because he ain't going anywhere.
No, and he complains about everything. So
yeah, I mean,
all right.
He's one of those people that he doesn't hate you, he just hates everybody.
Right, exactly. All right, Ashley, well, this is a little shorter show here, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Just, tell the folks anything you want to add as far as social media and what you got going on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Ferrara or on Instagram at Ashley Ferrara Model. And you can catch me every Tuesday on the Jeff Knight Weather Show, and that's on PB Insider Radio as well. So definitely some great spots to find me. This weekend, luckily, I have the weekend off because I have a paper that I absolutely need to get writing. So much needed break when I have one. So.
Oh, wait, I want to hear what fascinating title this must be on in law school. This must be fascinating. What's it on?
Well, comparative criminal law. So basically comparing the law of different countries. I have not actually picked my topic yet, so I really do need to do that. But it will get done, so don't you worry.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time. You procrastinating a little bit and taking some time off with us, and thanks for joining us. And we'll, of course, see you Tuesday, because I hear that Jeff Miller show is a really good show, so I'll be sure to check that out come Tuesday. And thanks a lot, Ashley. Appreciate your time, and thanks so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. All right, guys, that was Ashley Ferrara on Sunday Night Spotlight. We will see you next week. Apologies for J. Leon Love. He's unfortunately not able to make it, but we'll try to get him back, and we will talk to you all next week. Thanks a lot.
1, 2, you hear the clock ticking. Tick tock, you about to stop living. Tick tock, I want you to remember me. Tick tock, but the day don't have no memory.